This is Duke University.
Hi, I'm Nivedita, and I am representing ICED, the Informed Choices for Equitable Development. So a little bit of background about us. We started last academic year, and so we're very excited to be in our second year. We basically, our aim when we started the group was to have a platform to basically discuss inequality and development from a multidisciplinary perspective. And for the most part, due to our membership, and it's from a multidisciplinary social science perspective. And we meet every 2 weeks. And each meeting is basically like an hour to an hour and a half long discussion that's led by one or two members of our group. So as I mentioned, we're interdisciplinary, and I think that's one thing that really makes our group great. And we have a mix of students, graduate PhD students from the Sanford School of Public Policy, the Department of Political Science, and the University Program on Environmental Policy. And we span basically economics, political science, and sociology, and so that brings a good mix to the discussions that we have. So when we started the group last year, we started with 3 goals. The first, and which are written here, but basically we wanted to have critical and motivated discussion about inequality and development around the world. We wanted to really focus on distributional impacts of inequality in these discussions and in our work. And we really wanted to foster an environment for new research and research among the members of our group. And at the end of last year, we had a recap meeting where we thought about, what we'd done well, what we could improve on next year. And one thing that we really, that came up was that we all had very different interests and types of methods that we wanted to learn. So we have, partially because we come from different backgrounds, but we found that there were similarities. There's a lot of new research going on across the social sciences on social networks. A lot of us were interested in learning how to do analysis on social networks, how to best use spatial data for social science research and things like that. So the 4th goal that we started out with this year was to basically find ways that we could have experts come in or do workshops basically on teaching us how to where to begin to learn about. You can't learn everything about spatial data in an hour session, but basically get a flavor of how to go to approach that sort of thing. So to that end, our meetings are structured in 3 ways. So the first is that students can lead basically a discussion on work that's been published in their field, so things that they find interesting. So then that meeting would be like a reading group discussion of, this is a paper that's relevant to research that I'm interested in, and let's look at it critically and how do we think about it. The second is presenting own original work, and this can be at any stage of the process. We've had people present basically instead of a full hour, but like a half hour on, this is the topic that I'm interested in, this is the data set, this is the type of analysis I'm planning on running, and what's your feedback? Let's talk about how this so similar to a seminar, a research seminar, but more focused from an interdisciplinary perspective, so that even if you're an economist publishing on a very seemingly economics and policy and inequality related topic, you get feedback from political scientists and sociologists about how to think about the research question from multiple perspectives. And finally, the other type of meeting that we were planning to have this year is to basically host training sessions on these types of on how to approach learning about spatial data and networks data and things like that. So just to give you a flavor of the types of meetings that we had last year, for example, when we came back at the spring semester, the first meeting last year, we basically had it as an open discussion on different inequality-related current events that had happened over, actually just within the last month since we'd all seen each other last. And there was such a range of different things that we learned about that had been happening around the world that not everyone had heard about. So this ranged from the disastrous floods this time of year that happened in December 2015 in Chennai, India, and then all the way to the Flint water crisis, and basically discussing what the parallels are and about what we can learn and how policy should respond to these things. In addition, we had multiple meetings that were reading group type meetings where people presented on papers that they were interested in, and we learned about different methods that we could apply to our own work. And also people did present on their own work. We had presentations on a meta-analysis of household willingness to pay for water access, on the legal and political right to water, and also on political dynasties and development in the Philippines. And this year, actually similar to GIHI, we were very excited. We're in our second year, and this year so far, since October, every single one of our meetings has been students presenting their own original work, which we've been really excited about. And we've had lots of really good discussion about this work. We've had attendance from the main people who were coming last year, but also from new faces. We've gotten new perspectives on this work, which has been really, really exciting. And this research has spanned from looking at pork barrel elimination in the Philippines, to parental investment in low birth weight children, to welfare access in the US, and a bunch of other topics that aren't even fitting on the slide. So as a transition from last year to this year, one thing that, as I mentioned, we were really excited that this year has been all individual or original work that's been presented so far, and we hope to continue that next semester. We've had, I think one thing that we really benefit from is we've had regular attendance among our group members who initially signed up. So that means that it's a really good forum where people are comfortable being both critical and constructive, and it's been really beneficial to all of our work. It's also been really great because it's given us a fixed, basically, institution that we can focus on talking about development and equality with each other. And this has meant that we are sharing syllabi with each other for courses that we're interested in, that we hear about both at Duke and different departments than we're in, or UNC or NC State, that relate to people's research. We also have recently had a quite lively discussion about books related to inequality that we feel are must-reads. And the fourth goal that I mentioned, which was training and methods, as part of that, that's something that we were planning on working on for next semester. And as part of doing research for that, we've realized that there are actually quite a few resources available at Duke that we have. We were all first-year students last year, didn't know quite as much about Duke as we do now. And so a lot of us are quite excited. We want to attend, for example, the DNAC has a one-week training course on spatial data that a lot of us are excited about, things like that, and resources through SSRI. So we're working to figure out what the best way is to match these existing resources with our needs and how to move forward from there. So finally, thank you so much to all of you, and also for the continued support from DUSIGS. We've really, really appreciated it, and it's been really beneficial to all of us, and we do enjoy the pizza.